Good evening. Sunday afternoon. It is Sunday the 10th of September. Hopefully you are doing well. It is a NFL Week 1 here in Indianapolis. We just watched our Colts play against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, and unfortunately kind of blew a late lead, did not look good down the stretch, and ultimately lost the game. So it was Anthony Richardson's first NFL start. Everybody tells me how 15 starts or whatever it was, 13 starts in college was not enough, all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they just didn't get the job done. They didn't. And I've watched a few other live streams where people were talking about the game and talking about the team and stuff like that. And they said, oh, the offensive line looked good. Only one sack and all this stuff. Anthony Richardson was under pressure all day. They had no running game. If you really look at the stats here, what are we? 23, 25, 26 carries for 66 yards. I mean, that's not going to get the job done. It's just not. And 10 of them were by Anthony Richardson. He had 40 yards. So your running backs went 13 rushes for 14 yards. That's Deion Jackson. Funk went 2 carries for 10 yards. And Hull went 1 carry for 1 yard, basically. So not a very good rushing day for the Colts. Richardson was 24 of 37, 223, a touchdown and an interception. Sacked 4 times. So I don't know what somebody was talking about earlier where it was only 1 sack. He got sacked 4 times. He was running for his life all over the place. This offensive line is going to make him Andrew Luck in a really, really quick way. He got hurt at the end of the game. Minshew came in, went 0 for 2 at the end. Sanchez did not have a great day punting. 5 punts, 41 yards on the average, 46 long. The whole game, the whole day just looked a little off. Zaire Franklin played awesome. DeForest Buckner played awesome. Grover Stewart, Shaq Leonard was back. Blackman played well. Speed played well. Flowers played well. Kitty Pay, he played really well. So that defense looked really, really good. Again, the Jags 31, the Colts 21. Interesting end there for the Colts. They had 4th down. Inside the 20, they had it a little bit more, backed up a little bit more, and instead of kicking the field goal to make it 31-24 and then trying to get an onside kick, they tried to go for it, trying to get that touchdown first. So what I've been told is you always try to keep your team in the game as long as you can. You always try to keep the game going. You never kind of eliminate yourself. So going for it instead of getting field goals, they did that earlier. I was texting some friends, it seemed like 10 or 12 times, one of the two teams, the Jags or the Colts, had the ball around midfield at 4th and 2. And very few times it was picked up. So it's one of those, it was kind of a weird game. The receivers for the Colts did not look good at all. Pittman had 8 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. That's really good. His long was 39 for a touchdown. So, you basically take that away and he's 7 for 50. So kind of a decent day. Granson tied in 4 catches for 39. Downs 3 for 30. I kind of expected more from him, as you can tell, I'm a North Carolina fan, so I was really happy. I'm really happy that he's on the team. Ogletree had a great catch, and then he got knocked out. But at the end of the day, it was just one of those things where they just didn't really look good. I mean, to be honest, Jacksonville scored 14 in the 4th quarter to basically take over. The Colts did take the lead late, and you're kind of thinking, whoa, okay, here we go. Anthony Richardson, I think, did a good job up until that interception. They had 2 receivers in the same spot. He tried to kind of slip it over the linebacker and didn't really see him and kind of underthrew it. I think he was tentative out there when he threw the ball. I think he threw it either 100 miles an hour fastball or just kind of took something off of it. I think as time goes on, that'll obviously work itself out. I was happy with how he played. Selfishly, I think it was good. I think what they told him was if your first read and second read aren't there, take off. Where in years past, we've had Matt Ryan that can't take off. We've had Carson Wentz that tried to take off, but then tried to throw it backwards with his eyes closed. So I think it was really, really interesting, really, really fascinating how they approached the game. I think that they did have the training wheels on. This cannot be the whole offense. It just can't be. The rushing game stunk. Amazing. They only had 65 rushing yards. Now, if they had JT, would that be better? Probably a little bit, but the holes just weren't there. The holes were either the size of a truck or just nothing. They couldn't even get the QB sneaks going. So Jacksonville's a really good team. They are headed to the playoffs. They will probably win our division. They will be a team to reckon with. They were really hot at the end of last year. Peterson is a legit grown-up coach, so he's going to do a good job. I think Shane Steichen, what I liked about him was there were a few times where he kind of rolled the dice and went for it. I think he is controlling Anthony Richardson in a point where it's like, here, go do this, but then they're ultimately watching out for him because he's the investment for the future. I was not impressed by the offensive line. I just wasn't. I don't think that they gave him any time. A couple times that he did have 3 to 4 seconds back there, the receivers weren't even close to being open. So there's all kinds of issues on offense. On defense, Zaire Franklin played his butt off. Really, really good game. The back end with Flowers and those guys played really, really well. Shaquille Leonard started to get more comfortable. You can tell as the game went on. Kwity Paye played really, really well. DeForest Buckner was a machine out there. So the defense did well. At the end of the day, letting up 31 points, whether that means it's a turnover deep in their own territory or turnover on downs, whatever it is, 31 points is a lot. I mean, that's something you can't let up. So the defense has got to tighten up a few things. I think the secondary, if the pass rush didn't get there, the secondary just got picked apart. Trevor Lawrence is really, really good. So, it was one of those things. He was 24-32, 2 touchdowns and a pick. 241 yards. Travis Etienne, 77 yards and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 8 catches, 101 yards and a touchdown. Really good bounce back for him. Nobody picked the Colts to win this game, so the fact that they had the lead in the fourth quarter, everybody should be happy. I should be happy, but I'm frustrated because I think that they had it. They had it in their sights. They had a win right there at home. And my expectation is not just, let's see how we do and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to go win. I really hope that they can kind of turn it around, but if you look at everything, the Jags had 20 first downs, Colts had 18. Third down was a mess for both teams. 3 of 12 for the Jags, 2 of 12 for the Colts. Terrible, terrible third down percentage for both of them. Fourth down, Jags 1 for 3, Colts 1 for 5. You cannot, if you're going to go for it on fourth down, you better be better than 1 for 5. That is terrible. So hopefully that gets fixed up. 105 rushing yards for the Jags, 65 for the Colts. Again, does JT fix that? I mean, I think he helps it. Passing yards, 237 for the Jags, 215 for the Colts. Total yards, 342 and 280. So it was the Jags offense. The Jags team took over. They had 4 sacks. Colts only had 2. Both had interception, 5 punts apiece. They had the time of possession 33-26. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it was a 3.5-point favorite. And they obviously covered that and more. Over under was at 45.5. We got to 52, so we hit the over. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the Colts have to get better. I was happy with how Anthony Richardson played. I think it was so refreshing for us Colts fans in a couple of those drives to see him. Oh my gosh, he's not open. Boom, I'm taking off. Now, at the very end, he got popped. He got popped really hard. He said it was a leg injury, but I thought he got hit in the head. So we've got to keep him healthy. There were about 4 or 5 rushes that he had going towards the sidelines that a couple of Jags tried to tackle him and they fell down and he stayed up. So he is a big, strong dude. It's going to be awesome to see him continue to develop. They got to get the receivers going. They've got to get more help. I cannot believe that they're not looking out there trying to sign some of these receivers that are out there. And I don't know if any of them are worth the crap, but like Pierce, where was he at? Where was he at all day? I mean, did he even get, I don't even know if he got a target. Michael Pittman came alive there in the second half. He really was hot. The thing with Pittman is he is either on fire or they're just kind of forgetting about him. Pierce, 1 catch for 5 yards. He was targeted 3 times. I'm not the biggest Alec Pierce fan, so we'll see what happens with him. But Ogletree, 1. Deion Jackson had 5 receptions for 14 yards. So they got to get some help there. Pittman, Downs, and then the tight ends, really. Downs, I think he had one that went kind of in and out of his hands. But, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, there's not enough weapons on this team. There just isn't. There's not enough weapons. And one of the best weapons you have is on PUP list with a hurt knee or ankle, whatever we've got this week. He came out today and said he's going to pass the physical, whatever. But if this is the team we're rolling with, then we got to be smarter because Anthony Richardson got hit a lot. And it's something where if you're going to try to go and compete to win a division to get to the playoffs and he gets hit, that's fine. But if this is a year where they're truly saying we're going to just get to next year, we're just going to truly get to a high draft pick, then you have to tell him to get down. You cannot have him getting hit time after time after time. That just can't happen. So very interesting game. Very, very interesting how, how the Colts handled it. Shane Steichen, I like what he did a lot of the times. I think the offense, you can kind of see what's going to happen. A lot of those zone reads. It was just weird people in weird places. They had Josh Downs out kind of leading. There was a zone option read, and Richardson goes around the left side, and Josh Downs is leading the blocking. Well, he kind of got ran over because he's nothing out there. So real interesting to see the people in the different situations. They've got to get the running game going, but it's all up front. Nelson looked okay, and then he didn't. Kelly looked okay, and then he didn't. I personally did not pleased or impressed with the offensive line. I don't think they did anything. I really don't think that they did much to kind of take over the game. So good job for the defense. I think the game ball goes to the defense. I really do, specifically DeForest Buckner, Zaire Franklin, really Zaire Franklin. But ultimately, it's Anthony Richardson's team. He's the guy. He got that. He had a nice little throw to Pittman. Pittman really did the work to get to the end zone, but gave the ball back to Richardson. So I know they don't give game balls on losses, but I would give it to Anthony Richardson just because he's out there, he's playing. He really showed. I think he gave Colts fans hope. If you ask a lot of people leaving the stadium, or now that we're home and we had a chance to think about it, I think that he gave everybody hope. He gave everybody a little bit of, okay, now we can see what we can do here. Now we got to get some weapons. The Eagles are on right now. They're playing the Patriots, and you're just like, man, playmaker, big receivers, good receivers, quick. I mean, they've got a lot going on there. So hopefully this can continue to build. And Peyton Manning had a ton of interceptions his first year. You just got to kind of remember this. He was 3-13. So you just kind of remember it's a building process. My goal of winning the division is probably unrealistic, but I like to win. I don't like to lose. So anyway, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Let me know what you think. Comment below what you think about the Colts. How's your NFL team doing? If you're watching this, you may not be a Colts fan, but we are. I love the Colts. That's my team. So that's who we're going to talk about. So anyway, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. And I'm going to try to do this once in a while. Just kind of check in on what's going on in the sports world, and we'll go from there. So thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Go Colts. Hopefully we turned around and Anthony Richardson's the real deal. Thanks.